Good morning, everybody. Today, I want to talk about miracles. Why? Because I have recently had 2 miracles happen to me on the week of August 15th. Over that weekend, we had gone to our ranch in Oregon and had been working very hard. We were just working on some chairs here and stayed outside to watch the sunset. And our ranch foreman had come to tell us that there were fires on our property. Well, you can imagine our surprise when we saw this after sunset. The fire was just over the top of a hill. Well, supposedly the wind was dying down, and so the chief firefighter had said that we would be safe and he would keep us posted if it got too close. But I still got up every hour, said a little prayer, actually a big one, and looked out the window to see if the fire was getting any closer. Well, the next morning, the reports of the fire had changed directions, and by early afternoon, John and Michael Moore, our nephew, decided to take the Ranger with no windows or no back to go check on some new cows and, of course, see the fire damage. While they were gone, the sky kept getting darker and blacker with smoke. Oregon is in one of the worst droughts they've had in the last 20 years. You can see, hopefully, other than the valley, there's just not a lot of green around there. Well, as they were getting smokier, we started worrying more and more about John and Michael because the wind is picking back up again and there was a lot of smoke. But we decided to pray together. So Chris and Peggy, who was our ranch manager's wife, sat down on the couch, held hands, and prayed that all would be safe and that God would turn the fire that was heading for John and Michael. Not 5 minutes after that, a huge black cloud started coming down the street. Well, it was actually down the gravel road. I could have sworn it was a tornado, but I don't think tornadoes hit Oregon. My second thought that it was a fire, but that was just over on the other side of the hill. Well, I'll let you look and see what you think. I've never been in a hurricane before, but now I know what it feels like. Later, we found out that this wind blew over 60 miles an hour for an hour and 15 minutes. Boy, were we praying. We were praying for Michael and John that they'd be okay. We figured John and Michael were going to get caught in the fire because that wind had to be moving the fire quickly. Well, they were okay, and they showed up 2 hours later, totally black from the dust and smoke, but they were okay. The next day, we drove to the point of the fire camp where all the firemen were, about 400 firemen were gathered to fight the fire, just to see our property and see how it had burned and to check things out. While we were there, we saw the head firefighter, and he told us that he had lived his whole life in Eastern Oregon, and he had only had 60-mile-an-hour winds that lasted for maybe 5 or 10 minutes at the most. He told us how this wind from yesterday actually blew the fire back the way it had come. The wind hadn't been blowing with the fire, but it blew it back over the ground that had already been burned. He just couldn't believe it was happening when on the day it did happen. He told us he'd never seen anything like it. He was amazed, but I really wasn't. I knew God answered our prayers and performed miracles. So we packed up and left for home after talking to them on Tuesday, very grateful that we'd only just lost 20,000 acres or so. We thought the fire was gone, but the wind changed again and reignited the fire on Tuesday, and so came our second miracle. On Thursday, we received this picture, which was, there's our house, and this is one of those planes that was dropping fire retardant down on it. We got a call from Roger, our foreman. He took this picture of the house from the bottom of the hill where he lives. Yep, the fire was within 1/4 mile from our house, about as far from church as the high school is. That airplane is dropping the fire retardant around our house to keep it from going up in flames. Well, as soon as I saw that picture, I called all my family, my extended family, and all my friends that are great prayer warriors. I asked them to pray that the wind switched directions again and that no one would be hurt. That was 5:30 in the evening on Thursday, and by 6:30, our foreman called and said that the houses were safe because the wind had changed directions again. The fire chief was amazed. Again, I knew that God had answered our prayers. He still performs miracles, and I believe it. How do I know it? Well, because of course the Bible tells me so. All of our cows and everyone else was safe. Can you see how dry that land is? Oof, sagebrush everywhere. And how do I know that he still performs miracles? Well, Matthew 19:26 says, "But Jesus beheld them and said to them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." That's one place. And the other place I love that talks about counting on miracles is Job 5. He says, "But as for me, I would seek God, and to God I would commit my cause, who does great things and unsearchable, marvelous things without number." So God does still perform miracles when he answers our prayers. Oh, did I forget to mention this miracle? This perfect child of God was given to Josh and Hillary. This is Maya, and she's our third miracle, really. So let's close with the word of prayer. Dear Lord, you know the fire isn't completely out. You know that there's still hurricanes out there, Lord, and people getting hurt and sick with COVID. I know that you can turn the wind. You can calm the seas. And you can cure COVID. Help us be patient, Lord. And let us know that we can count on you to answer prayers, even if that takes a miracle from you. We do believe in your miracles, Lord. Amen.